This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Hoffman. Today is Tuesday, May the 30th, 2023, another month almost gone. So glad you could join us. Coming up here today, we're going to talk with the United Soybean Board's Keenan McRoberts about the Soy Checkoff and what they're doing with those dollars. We'll also take a look at what could be a little bit of a rough few days, but a hot weather forecast. And we'll also right now kick things off with a check of your markets. It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. We're at the end of another trading day, and we're catching up today with Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. Boy, Robin, it was quite the day to say the least. What happened in those grain markets today?
Well, we probably would mainly say the dominating factor there on the grain markets was weather. We had Friday, we were higher because of dry weather. Today, over the weekend, they came out with a GFS model looking at maybe 1.5 to 3 inches of rain in the Corn Belt, Southern Corn Belt, over the next 14 days, not so much in the near term, but in the 14 days. European model, not quite so strong, maybe 3/4 to about 1.5 inches. Nevertheless, it's rain that they're looking at. And so when we get into these weather markets, it's whatever happens, and a weekend can make a big difference, especially a 3-day weekend. That's probably the most dominating thing that took place. We did have also that the information is that there's been a lot of soybeans that have either come into the U.S. or are still coming into the U.S. being imported. A total of 290.594 metric tons of soybeans have come in or will be coming in yet by the first part of June into the country. So that's quite a bit of movement of beans coming in, probably put quite a bit of pressure on the bean market. Now we looked at soy export inspections. Corn was 51.7 million bushels, down 500 million bushels from last week. Soybeans, 8.5 million bushels, up 2.7 million bushels from the previous week. And wheat was 14 million bushels, down 2.1 million bushels. So even though the soybean inspections were better, they're still pretty lackluster, which is, keeping a lot of pressure on that market as well. So now grain shipments out of the Black Sea area so far, or I should say not so far, for the month of May are really the lowest they've been since the Black Sea corridor was established. I know there's been some issue there with some pointing fingers at Russia dragging their feet on doing these inspections for a purpose, but nevertheless, it's the lowest that we've seen coming out of there since the Black Sea Initiative or the corridor was established. Now, Brazil raised their corn crop estimate by Saffras-Mercado to 137 million tons, up from 120 million tons a year ago. So we're looking at a record crop, and they say that the winter crop has benefited from moisture and is looking at to be a larger crop, and they just started harvesting their winter corn crop right now. Now, corn or crop conditions will be released today for the corn market. The average trade is estimating 71% good to excellent on the corn for the initial condition rating. Corn plantings are at 92% finished, according to the estimates, 82% on soybeans and 82% on spring wheat. So we really caught up quite a bit on the spring wheat standpoint as far as plantings were concerned. So really, you put all that stuff together, and the pressure overall really comes back down to weather.
All right. Well, moving over to the livestock side of things, how were they able to react with the hit that grain took today?
Well, as usual, the idea is with the pressure on grain markets, then the cattle market is higher, and that has somewhat to do with that. So we saw feeder cattle very strong, leading the charge today, up over $3.60. Live cattle followed, being triple digit higher as well. They had a strong day, cheaper corn being part of the reason, like I said, but also the other part of it is that last week there were some packers that had purchased cattle for deferred delivery 2 to 3 weeks out, only to turn around a couple days later and actually take those cattle. So they were short bought. They needed to have them even though they were purchased initially for deferred delivery, which again points to what we've been talking about all the while, is the tighter market that we're looking at right now. Demand still remains strong. Last week, cattle were steady to higher, $1 higher in the south, and in the northern dress trade, it was $4 to $5 higher. Obviously, feedlots are going to gun for more this week, especially if they have that idea that the packers are short bought. They're going to be looking for more. Box beef today at the midday report, choice was up $1.09, select up $3.52. That'll probably change to some degree, by the final bell or the final print, I should say. Hogs were on fire today. We haven't seen a limit move up in hogs in a long time. We saw a limit up in June and July hogs. Most of that, I think, probably was tied to short covering, profit taking just ahead of the end of the month. Fundamentals out there really don't suggest any real turn in anything in that market. It's been beat down so hard, it is oversold, but the funds are in control. The funds added over 4,000 futures positions to their net short futures positions, according to the Commitment of Traders report that came out on Friday. So they're not really very apt to let go on that. Now, noon cutouts are up $4.71, which that varies a lot by the end of the day, but we don't know what the cash is going to be today, but cash took a hit last week, most of the week, and it was down quite a bit on Friday. So it seems to be a reaction, maybe more so the short covering to the end of the month, because really, when we look at it, there's a lot of issues that have to be dealt with through Prop 12 and, being implemented by July 1st. And demand needs to really find a bottom and really to see some steady increases in order for hogs to trend higher. So I think most of today was great to see, but I don't know if there's a lot of upside potential left to that.
All right. Well, Robin, lots of information as always. If folks want to talk about some of their market strategies with the folks at agmarket.net, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, they can call me directly at 877-256-3253 or go to agmarket.net. The 844 phone number is there, and they can call in, and anybody will pick up that's available.
All right, Robin, we thank you so much for the information. We'll talk to you again real soon.
All right, thank you. Always a pleasure.
And that again was Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. Let's go ahead and run down those closing numbers. That comes to us courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. July corn down a dime at $5.94 even. December new crop down 9 1/4 at $5.25 1/4. July beans down 40 3/4 at $12.96 1/2. November new crop is trading 36 1/4 lower at $11.53 1/4. Soy meal down $9.70 at $3.8820. Soy oil down $2.57 at $46.32. Chicago wheat down 24 at $6.05 1/2. Minneapolis down 24 3/4 at $7.94 1/2. Kansas wheat down 33 3/4 at $7.80 1/2. Oats, the only bright spot, up 2 1/4 at $3.47 1/2. June live cattle up $1.52 at $168.87. August feeders up $3.85 at $237.77. Lean hogs up the limit at $4.75, higher at $80.82. Pork cutouts up $3.12 at $82.50. Class 3 milk unchanged at $16.16. And that's been our ag market recap. We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. And when we come back, we're going to talk with the United Soybean Board. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to AMPM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Well, in tough economic times and in situations where the markets are taking a slight downturn, questions always will rise about the checkoff program. We're starting to see a lot more angst being raised again about the beef checkoff program, but they're not the only one. Pork has one, as well as soybeans. Now, of course, folks are going to want to make sure that those dollars that are coming out of their sales are being used properly. And for that, we talk with United Soybean Board's Keenan McRoberts to talk about how the United Soybean Board is taking care of your checkoff dollars and using them responsibly. Talking right now with Keenan McRoberts of the United Soybean Board. Keenan, thanks for taking a few minutes to talk with us here at Commodity Classic.
Yeah, thank you as well, Dustin. Pleasure to be here with you.
So obviously, the soybean checkoff is what's involved with the United Soybean Board. Talk a little bit about what's going on, what kind of research is going on, kind of things that you guys are doing with those checkoff dollars.
Yeah, appreciate that. So we've got an exciting portfolio of research that's really connected to market outcomes. Everything from animal nutrition and health and human nutrition and health that builds demand and creates opportunities to improve soy's reputation, build demand globally. We partner with industry, with both the public and private sector to make that happen. And then on the on-farm side, producing a lot of information that gives farmers better information to support the decisions that they make on farm as it relates to input use, as it relates to practices that can improve yield and can also improve the ability to operate more sustainably. So we operate across the supply chain, both in supply and demand, and do a lot of work in collaboration with both the public and private sector to pull that off.
So I understand you're involved a lot with the animal ag part of it as well, as far as the research. So tell us a bit about what's going on in that front. What kind of new things are working on there?
Yeah, that's a great question. On the animal ag front, we've developed an animal nutrition and health implementation plan, which is industry-leading research, collaborating with a group that USB manages called the Animal Nutrition Working Group, that consists of lead nutritionists from a lot of the major swine and poultry producing companies here in the U.S. So companies like Tyson, like Purdue, like the mash-offs. We work with those nutritionists who advise us on the type of research investments that help create demand for soybean meal, help us understand the product better, and help us advance toward outcomes like increased meal use and demand. Historically, meal use in swine and poultry diets was driven by protein and energy. Those are the historic value drivers for the product. Now we're looking at animal health, things like what makes animals grow faster, what makes them grow better when they're stressed, when they're sick, how do they recover faster, and soybean meal actually plays an instrumental role there. So we're working to build a marketing proposition based on evidence related to health outcomes for animals. That's really exciting.
So can you speak to some of that evidence and some of the things that you have found?
Yeah. For example, in the summer, under heat stress conditions, animals that are consuming more soybean meal are tending to grow a little faster than they would otherwise. This is especially on the swine side. And also, when you look at things like respiratory disease stress, if you've got more meal in the diet, we're seeing better growth outcomes and fewer animals getting sick and dying. So that type of thing is a kind of a game changer in the way you think about product value for soybean meal.
So obviously when farmers are looking at feeding soy meal, just like they look at feeding corn or anything else, they obviously look at the price. We know the prices are good for the growers right now, and livestock feeders have to really think about what they're putting in and what their return on investment is. So if they're looking at soybean meal and they look at the price tag, what do they need to also consider when they look at that price tag for what they're getting, that bang for the buck?
Yeah, you're exactly right. So historically, animals are fed based on a least cost proposition. So things cost in, and there's a lot of variation in that over time versus competing feed ingredients. Soybean meal is the gold standard as it relates to protein and energy, but some of these health outcomes go beyond the traditional least cost approach to procurement and really creates a longer term opportunity there. Some other things that are coming down the pipe are sustainability outcomes. So things like nitrogen emissions, things like greenhouse gas emissions, and soy can really play an instrumental role in reducing the greenhouse gas footprint of animal production as well. So we've got a lot of opportunity there, and we're partnering with industry to help move that forward.
And so, and of course, this is working across all aspects of livestock, because I mean, like you said, you feed soy meal across poultry, across hogs, and wherever.
Yeah, those are the two primaries. So poultry, between broilers, layers, and turkeys, consume over 60% of domestic meal that's crushed here in the U.S. Swine's a little under 20%, though we see a lot of room for growth there, especially under the crush expansion driven by biofuels that's occurring right now. And then that's followed by dairy and beef. Dairy consumes over 10% of meal, And ruminants are a key outlet for soybean hulls as well. Most hulls go into ruminant diets. We've got a lot of room for growth there as the industry expands, and we're excited about the future in our animal nutrition and health portfolio.
All right, anything you want to add for our Iowa listeners here today?
Yeah, just say understand the importance of animal ag to Iowa. We work closely with the Iowa Soybean Board and other collaborators on the industry side in Iowa as well, and excited to continue partnering there and help ensure that that industry is supported by soybean meal, and we're delivering those type of health solutions that make the animal ag industry more profitable. So thank you.
All right, Keenan, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
That again was Keenan McRoberts of the United Soybean Board. Let's go ahead and take a rundown of that weather forecast. Well, it's going to be warm the next couple of days, and unless you're Riley Smith, you may not enjoy it very much. And we also look, though, to maybe get some thunderstorm activity coming through in parts of the state today, but also stretching at least into tomorrow as well. What are the chances? Well, let's see what the National Weather Service has in store for the next 24 hours. Well, we did see mostly sunny skies across much of the state here today. There was some slight pockets of isolated showers and storms that popped up, very few and far between. We saw highs basically in the 70s to around 80. Now, tonight, look for mostly clear skies. There'll still be a chance of isolated storms possible in the southwest. Lows will be in the low 40s to the upper 50s, very widespread there. And then tomorrow, mostly sunny skies. Highs will be anywhere from 75 to 82 degrees. Taking a look at the affiliate weather map for you for tomorrow, Cherokee and Shenandoah, both sunny skies and 80. Des Moines, Waterloo, Clinton, all sunny skies and 76. Albia looking to be a cooler spot, sunny and 75 degrees. And for more detailed forecasts in your area, tune to your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. And that's been our Ag Weather Outlook. And that brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and on our YouTube channel. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified every time we put out a new video project, including back episodes of AMPM and our new series that we're doing on my trip to Brazil. You can also find our free twice daily market podcasts on Amazon, Google, Spotify, Apple, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Riley Smith and Mark Magnuson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.